Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the All Things Georgia Call-In Show, presented by UJSports.com. I'm your host, Paul Meharry, joined alongside, as always, the man, Andy Stowe, and the legend, Eddie from Ackworth. Yeah, you like that?
The legend. That's impressive. And we do know, because he sent us his banking information, he is a legend when it comes to the banking world.
Are we really going to put that out on the
we'll get to that later.
Yeah, we're going to get
later. Guys,
we're going to have a screen there, Paul. Just run it on the screen.
Yeah, I will. I'll type it in. I can do that.
Who needs $1 million? Raise your hand. First come, first serve. So.
Guys, we're going to jump into. There's no football today. First time in how long?
Well, we did have some football. We had a Pro Bowl.
Okay, yeah. All right. Well, we didn't have real football today for the. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, my mic went out in and out there. All right, we didn't have football for the first time in a while, so we'll have some other stuff to talk about. Georgia basketball, the Pro Bowl, the Super Bowl. Braves are starting up soon. Eddie wants to talk about the Hawks, which I guess we can do later on once the crowd thins out, because not a lot of people want to talk about them.
No, we don't have to talk about them at all. I just had a rant.
We will. No, you want to. You've mentioned it 3 or 4 times. You have a rant, so we'll get there. And then also Georgia baseball. Andy's going to walk us through a little bit of Georgia baseball. So, guys, we appreciate you joining us. Not a lot of sports going on tonight, so we're going to try to bring it to you. If you have any questions about any Georgia sports team, let us know in the comments. And as always, guys, we want to know where you're watching us from. We'll shout out on the screen. And you guys are the part that give us – you guys are the reason this show kind of keeps moving, because the questions that you guys ask, the comments, so it helps grow this show and keep us moving throughout the day. Andy, how was your weekend, my friend, before we get going?
It was pretty good. I, didn't do much. I helped my parents do some yard work and things. It's 70 degrees. You got to be outside doing some yard work. So that was a pretty good day, although Georgia did not do so well yesterday. So that takes a little bit of the fun out of Saturday. But, yeah, all in all, it was good. So.
Eduardo?
It was good. I had the pleasure of watching my wife perform at the men's basketball game yesterday. She's a Golden Dog. They bring back former dancers. Sold out crowd. It was amazing. Got to meet Coach Mark Richt. He was very congenial. I told him he coached 4 years too long at Georgia, but
damn,
yeah, I've got to be a little rough there, Paul. And he agreed with me. He said, "Yeah, you're right. I went 4 years too long." So, yeah. So, but I will say this right now, Paul. I am sick and tired of the narrative that Georgia's not a basketball school. That place was sold out.
I like that.
Rocking. John Bateman has done a phenomenal job moving the students, the lights. They're engaged. It was incredible until South Carolina proceeded to kick our ass, because they're a better basketball team. But that's another story. But they're close. They're close. And
so since you did that, let's just start with Georgia basketball then, because I actually went to the game on Wednesday against Alabama. One of my suppliers, I do construction. I own a construction company, and so one of our suppliers was like, "Hey, man, it's your turn to go to lunch." I said, "Why don't we just go to the Dawgs game instead? Normally I have to go and work those games. Let me just go spectate and take everything in. I haven't taken it all in since I was a student." And 6:30 tip, right? Crowd was there by 6:45. I mean, this place was rocking come 6:45. Dogs were on Andy, correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to say it was like 17-2 run or something to start the game.
Yeah, they started the game.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
That was the most electrifying crowd. And I was at that game. Oh man, what was it? 2013, 2014, when Kentucky came to town and it was electric. I was at that game too. This was the most, electrified, amplified crowd I've heard inside Stegman. I tried to tweet it out. There were so many people there that I couldn't even send any tweets or messages. I mean, that's how packed it was. Student section, they've moved the student sections. If you guys haven't been to a game in a while, they moved them to where now it's, almost halfway across the side, lower bowl over there, not on the player side, on the other side. And students were there. John Bateman has done a great job, Eddie. He has getting those students involved. And you're right. This team's really close. They had Alabama. They really did. Yeah, they let that one slip away.
They had Tennessee. They had Florida. They had Alabama. They had South Carolina. I mean, literally.
So I guess the question then is posed. Oh, Alex asked,
Yeah, he was asking about the student section.
Hey,
Yeah.
look at there. I didn't even see his comment. Alex said, where are the students sitting now? Yeah, they're sitting pretty much where the score table is on that side. I think that's announcers on that side. I'm not sure. It is.
Well, if you're watching the game, the angle you're looking at, you can see Sweater Man. That's the student section.
Yes.
Right there
they're
underneath where you're viewing it.
Correct. So yeah, Dogfather said Jesse the Sweater Man is chaperoning them now.
That's
I
right.
did find that.
Yeah.
I did find that quite funny that he still sits there, but it's all students now. But he's part of it. He's got to stay in there. He has to. So it's fun. It was definitely a fun atmosphere for sure. And Eddie, I'm sure you can attest to the Saturday atmosphere being just the same. This team's close. They have a kid coming in next year, 5-star prospect, Asa Newell.
Yeah.
You get another year out of Silas Dimmery. It's unfortunate because we thought this team could get a little bit further, right, Andy?
Yeah, and so one, I want to blame you because last week you became win 'em all, Paul. You said Georgia was going to win the national championship.
True. That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't. So I want to ask y'all, since y'all were there, when y'all were looking at the game, y'all were seeing Georgia let it slip by. They were up big and then they would lose. What are they missing? And Garrett, I know you're a huge basketball fan. So what is it that this dog team is missing that can get them from here to the next step? Eddie?
Well, the first part is maturity, and Mike White even touched on that in the post game. He said this team is immature. And he didn't say immature. He said they got a lot of growing up to do, and they do. And
it's a nice way of saying it, right?
Yeah. Chuck and the post game brought it to his attention and said it looked like they were kind of hanging their heads a little bit in the second half when they got behind. And he was 100% right. Mike White agreed with that. He said their mentality changed and they got down on themselves and they didn't have that swagger. Like in the first half, Blue Canes draining threes. We couldn't miss a three. Place was going ape blank. Okay. And the second half was totally different. The second part, Andy, that's a problem. And I saw it from the beginning. I said, this is going to be a problem, is the inside attack. They don't have those big guys. I mean, Chua is that how you say it? Chua. He's a nice player. He's fine. But South Carolina has this guy. We were watching him warm up because I was down on the floor. And Kelly and I both looked down and said, that guy's a monster. And he's a 7-footer, and he's huge. And he just muscled his way inside. I said, this is going to be a problem. And in the second half, it turned around. They were getting inside presence and just dunking the ball on us. And we couldn't stop them. And that was the difference in the game.
That's kind of like for me, like I listened to some of the game on the radio, listening to Scott Howard call it and watching the games. And that's kind of what I like. We don't have that legit true big man that can do the dirty work down low.
Yeah, so you have Chiwa, but when you take him out,
Deloach is
it's just you have to get, I think, one more big guy. And it's tough. It's tough to get those 7-footers that they don't grow on trees. You can go get a 6'5" guard all day long, right? They can shoot and rebound a little bit. It's tough to find, those big guys out there.
And the second thing I'll say real quick, and not to get in the weeds too much, but South Carolina does not play zone defense. They played it. Mike White even said it. They played 7 times all year. In the second half, they went away from a man-to-man and played a zone defense, and it drove us crazy. So it was a great call by the South Carolina coach to do that. We couldn't do anything. We couldn't penetrate. That took away all the threes, and we looked completely lost. So I give credit to South Carolina. It was a great job. But Mike White is a hell of a basketball coach. He really is. He's gonna turn this program around. He is, and he's already started.
Alex Page asked us, does Abdul Rahim and Melendez have another year? Melendez definitely does. Abdul Rahim is a senior. Now, that's not to say he doesn't have another year, right? With the COVID years, I'm sure he has another year if he wants to come back. His dad, Sharif Abdul Rahim, though, is the president of the G League. I want to say it's something. He's very high up at the G League. I wouldn't be surprised if he, obviously ended up in the G League and tried to work his way up.
He needs to come back one more year, I think, but he probably won't. You're probably right.
Garrett Key says, I wonder why Dylan James hasn't seen action. We've given him a scholarship. Yeah, so I was there. I watch a lot of these games, guys. I talk about them for a living. The guy that I went with watches a ton of them as well. And Dylan James checked into the game against Alabama. And I was like, who is that? I had to look it up. I was like, oh, the freshman kid. Yeah, hasn't seen a ton of action. I don't know what. I even had to look up, I I think he played in 6 games prior to Alabama, but wasn't really a factor. Interesting to see what happens with that. Randy says UGA will never be a basketball school for some odd reason. I don't know. So I can tell you with a matter of fact that the fans want it to be a basketball school.
Yes.
And they're putting more money into the program, into basketball. Yes. It is not like it's just the afterthought anymore. They are putting a lot into it. So.
Yeah. No, I mean, but that's a common thought. You know, I'm not knocking Randy for it. A lot of people think Georgia's not a basketball school. The thing is, though, with NIL, Georgia Athletics, well, not Georgia Athletics, the collectives rather, are giving the same amount of percentage to basketball as they are to football. Now, it's not the same amount of money, guys, because obviously there's 85 guys on the football team compared to, 12, 13 scholarships on the basketball team, but they are getting the same percentage. That's how you see them signing a 5-star. That's how you see them in a top 25 recruiting class in basketball. So I think they can get there. It's just, you see, like Garrett said, you see immediate success with South Carolina, and now they're up there at the top. And you want that for Georgia.
Yeah.
I think next year is the year, though. But again, basketball is tricky, guys. We think the transfer portal in football is tough, guys. It's been happening in basketball for years.
Yeah.
So, you have to make sure you can keep Silas Demery around. He's a hell of a ball player. Keep Blue Kane around. Get Asa Newell in here. Go find you another big man because Chi was a grad transfer. He doesn't have any more eligibility. So it's going to be interesting. I think this team has what it takes, and it's tough to say. We're almost speaking in like a past tense almost because the season still has to run its course, right?
You still have 9 games to go. You have 9 left.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
And the SEC tournament, right?
Yeah. Stranger things have happened. There's been a tornado come through and Georgia win the SEC tournament.
Yeah.
The strange things have happened, guys.
It can happen. Yeah, it could really happen. I mean, if they get hot in the right time, I mean, if you get some shooters on fire, because what was that guy's name? He was when they won that SEC tournament. He was that little short white boy. He was like my height.
I can see him.
I can think of his name.
I was
shaggy hair.
Yeah. I was at a restaurant.
Garrett's going to tell us in about 5 seconds, guys. Yeah.
But yeah, it could happen. I mean, if they get hot, it can happen. And again, look at what Alex is talking about. You see these Auburn, Tennessee, Bama, these schools that are football schools, they became basketball or not basketball.
Hell, Auburn right now is a basketball school.
It is a basketball school. It is. Yeah. So Kevin, is that right? That is, it is Wehunt. That was his name, Kevin.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, that was right. It was.
I don't think I know.
No, that's not right.
That is right.
Robert Tyler says, "What's up? What's up, Robert? How are you, man? I'm just talking a little ball right now, talking a little basketball." Garrett Key says an NIT home game would be fun. Not gonna lie, yeah. I think the fans could get behind that.
This guy was tall. Richard Wehunt.
You wouldn't show up to an NIT game.
It was a Buzz Wehunt. That was it. It was Richard a Buzz Wehunt.
Yeah.
Richard Wehunt.
Wow. Good call, guys.
He's not as short as I thought he was. He was tall, but he was 6'4". But yeah, he got hot, and I was at a restaurant up in 5 Points. It was they used to have wings up there. I can't remember the name of it, but I remember Coach Donnan was in there, and I was like, oh crap, there's Coach Donnan. He was eating lunch, and we were watching basketball. So,
Dogfather says he'd go to the Steg for a few NIT games. You're not going to show up, Eddie? You gave me a very old man grimace there, if you will. What was that?
I mean, that's fine. That's whatever. I mean, that's not
a step, right? It's a step, right?
I mean, the season was over last year at this point, so if it does get a postseason, that is good.
It's a step, right?
You think Mike White's going to be happy with the NIT? He'd never say that, but I just think where we need to be is not the NIT. I mean, that's probably where we're going to end up.
Nobody thinks that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just saw the juice for these games. Tennessee, the game I was at, the game you were at, it was there. The NIT, I mean, you're playing for what? 68th in the country? That's just, I don't know. The NIT to me is just silly. I've always thought it was silly.
Alex says, why are fans talking about supporting NIT games? Well, when you go look at that schedule, Alex, it's a little tough down the stretch here. We're just, I think, trying to be cautiously optimistic.
Realistic.
Realistic.
Yeah, realistic.
Yeah. James Caraway said, "Ooh, this is a good one, guys. What's up, James? Hope the baby's doing well, man." He says, "Does baseball make a super regional?" This leads us into Georgia baseball. So I like this. This will lead us into baseball. Does baseball make a super regional or basketball make a Sweet 16 first? I've got to go probably baseball.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. Yeah.
It's harder. First off, I think it's harder in basketball to make the Sweet 16. You got to have, even if you've got an amazing team, you need some luck along the way as well.
Sure, of course.
Andy, I'm gonna let you not really like host it, but run us through baseball, if you will, please.
Well, they start next Friday, February the 16th. It's opening day. So and you know, they have, let's see, right here from previous schools, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 transfers. So that's, I mean, yeah, we went out and got a ton of transfers, and of course then you have quite possibly the best player in the league coming back. I mean, you have Charlie Condon coming back. So I mean, he's, you know, like right now I was looking at the preseason rankings. He is the only player that Georgia has on the preseason on the listed in preseason. Gosh, I'm losing my train of thought. Preseason All-American.
I was going to say, I've given you the reins here, and you're losing right here.
You're losing the reins, yeah.
He's the first. He's the only guy on the preseason All-American team, and he is the only Georgia on the first, second, or third team. So I mean, they have some players, and then they've had a good recruiting class. But I think Wes Johnson is doing good, and he's coming out and he's got a lot of players. I think it's going to be good, and like I said, I'm excited about him just because I mean Charlie Condon could go. They have him projected to go 5th overall pick in the draft. So, I mean, he's
where have you looked up where they expect Georgia to kind of land?
Yes. So they had Georgia picked to go. It was next to last in the SEC. So they were in the SEC East. Yeah. So
hey, but look, South Carolina in basketball was picked to be last, and they're in the top.
There you go. Paul. Yeah.
You know, so we're shifting back. Look, you like that, Eddie? We were just talking about that. Boom. We're just moving it forward, you know. We just like
they have, as of now, there are 5 teams in the top 10 in the SEC preseason rankings. 5. You got LSU's 2, Arkansas's 3, Florida's 4, Vanderbilt's 7th, Tennessee is 8th. But then you got Texas A&M at 11. You got South Carolina at 12 and Auburn at 23. I mean, you know, Georgia could be the 25th best team in the country, but still the last place in the SEC. That's what's crazy about it. So.
Well, the SEC is loaded in both basketball and baseball. I mean, it's crazy how much.
And of course, football. This is a dumb question. Does the Texas and Oklahoma, their first sport with the SEC will be football, I'm assuming?
Yeah, it'll be next year in football. That's correct. It will not be this year in baseball. Correct.
So it will not be this year in baseball. I thought that was the case. Just wanted to double check.
Yeah.
You never know, right?
And they changed the tournament rules because of that next year. I'm not going to get in the weeds, but they changed the way the SEC.
That's what we're here for. We technically get into the weeds here, Eddie.
I know, but I mean, it's baseball talk. But they did change the way the SEC is going to work next year. It's a one and done, and they're doing like a full tournament in baseball next year, where it was like series. Now it's just 1 and 1. So it's going to be based on rankings and that kind of thing because of Texas and Oklahoma coming in. So that'll be interesting. Yeah.
Okay.
Garrett has a very good question. Do you think the SEC is better in baseball or basketball? Gosh, man, that's a tough one. I mean, I don't know.
Baseball because they get more. Yeah, they get more national
baseball
titles.
Too. Yeah, I think
baseball titles out of it.
Yeah,
because you have more elite teams, I think, in baseball than you do in basketball. Which I don't know.
And I'll go back to this. In baseball, you play series, right? That makes a big difference. You don't play. You know, you could trip up a team here and there in basketball, but in baseball, usually the better team is going to win out in a series.
Yeah.
Guys, I see a familiar name in here. It says the Chop Sports and Gaming. It says Georgia baseball will be fine. Everyone in the SEC for baseball makes a round of 64.
Who's the Chop Sports and Gaming?
I don't know.
I got a good guess.
Yeah, I got a good guess too. He's
asked why we didn't sign Lamar Jackson.
I was wondering why did we not get Lamar Jackson just to go to the playoffs to lose if you're a Baltimore Ravens? So,
Yeah. So Jermaine and Alex are both saying the answer is softball. Fair. I'll take it. We've got the big game coming up. Why is that, Eddie? Why can't they say the Super Bowl on all these shows? Do you know why?
No.
You don't
Is
know?
there an actual reason? Are you
Yeah,
an
there
open-ended
is.
question?
They have to call it the big game.
Yeah, the NFL does not let people say it because of trademark, and they say if you trademark, you're infringing on their trademark. So you're supposed to pay to say Super Bowl.
Right. So like this week on the radio, I think what you'll hear is like the big game.
The big game. Yeah, they'll call it every radio station. They call it the big game. They cannot say the Super Bowl.
I figured since Eddie calls into literally every radio station, he would know, but let me down there. Okay.
No, I did not know that. I'm going to continue calling it the Super Bowl because that's what it is. I mean, it's not the big game.
You can't get sued for it, but
right.
These companies can. So that's why.
Don't feel bad, Eddie. I could not come up with preseason All-American. I just could not come up with that.
I know.
James says, or the Swifty Bowl.
Oh,
all right. So
yeah,
Super Bowl 2024. You've got the 49ers and the Chiefs. I saw a map on Facebook. You know how they had those like meme maps. And it was like, who is America rooting for? And they highlighted California with the 49ers. And they highlighted Kansas and Missouri with the Chiefs. And the rest of the states were just blank. Because
really?
And it was a joke, right? Because nobody else cares to watch this game besides those, three. Man, it's going to be a really good game. But I was so hoping for either the Ravens or the Lions to
either
be
one.
Either one. And especially the Lions. I mean, I really wanted the Lions underdog story going up against the Chiefs. And what a game that would be. But
I was for the Lions and the Ravens. I wanted both of them. That was the Super Bowl I wanted to see. So I know the Chop House over there, he's pulling for the Ravens, but I was pulling for them as well. I was kind of wanting them to win the whole thing. But
so we have this Super Bowl now. -2 is the spread, I think, for the 49ers.
Yes, -2 now. It opened at -1 and it got bet to -2. So
before we give our picks here, what dogs are in this game?
We have Charlie Warner for San Francisco. We have Chris Connolly for San Francisco, Robert Bill for San Francisco, and then you have McCole Hardman and Malik Herring for Kansas City.
Okay, and now here's my question. I'll start with Eddie. Out of those 5, who makes the biggest impact in the game? Because they all have roles. They're not. None of them are. None of those guys are number one guys, but they all do have roles on their team. Maybe not Robert Beal. I think he might be special teams.
Yeah, he's
the other four do.
I think of all of those, McCall Hardman has the biggest impact by fumbling it through the end zone and costing his team a win.
Yeah.
Damn.
I don't know what's going on with that guy. It's just bizarro world. But
you and James were on the same train.
There you go. So
both you guys drink some Haterade before the show. Jeez.
No, Trutherade.
Andy, who's yours?
I got Charlie Warner laying a good block. You've been seeing those, seeing the tape or the replays of him blocking people and blocking for the running game. So I got Charlie Warner making a good block for a touchdown.
We've got 2, Garrett and Alex with Charlie. James was with you, Eddie. Said Charlie. JD said it best. When Charlie is in the game, good things happen for the 49ers.
Yep.
Hey, I got another prediction. This will be the highest amount of feminine products you've ever seen advertised in the Super Bowl. In the history of Super Bowls.
You might be right on that.
I know I'm right.
Okay, guys, I got a question. Is this stuff fake between Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce? Is this just
I don't believe it is. I don't believe it's fake, but I believe now they're like, wow, this is bigger than everybody thought it would be, right? And I mean, this is absolutely. My wife is going to sit and watch this. I mean, she'll watch it. She's like, whatever.
Is your wife a Swiftie?
No, she's not a Swiftie. She doesn't care about Taylor Swift, but that entices her to watch it more. I want to see Taylor Swift. I want to see Brittany Mahomes. I want to see these people in the box. That's just, I mean, I'm not knocking her. That's just women in general. And think about how many teenage girls
that's what
the Super Bowl who have never given 2 shits about football in their life. They're going to be watching the Super Bowl. This is going to be the highest rated ever Super Bowl ever.
This is going to be like some of those dads' proudest moments because their daughter is going to watch the whole Super Bowl.
That's right.
With them.
Just to see a glance.
All
right, what's the over under on Taylor Swift camera?
Yeah, we got it right here. So yeah, you need to write this down, Andy, because I'm sure after the Super Bowl somebody's going to put this out there. We moved on to Taylor too quick. My impact player, Malik Herring. I think he gets a sack. Malik Herring with a sack.
All right.
I'm going with my man Malik. Over under on Taylor camera shots. And if you guys want to participate as well, Garrett, Alex, Dogfather, anybody, Jermaine, all you guys, James, put in your number here. We will find this information out. Over under on Taylor camera shots. I'm going, oh boy. Oh man, throughout the whole Super Bowl. 13.
Oh God, that's too high.
No, that's too low.
You know what? And what's funny is I didn't even mean to do it. I think that's her favorite number too.
How the hell would you know that?
Because some people.
You're a Swiftie. You're a Swiftie.
I'm going 13. I'm going 13.
He just outed himself. Oh my God.
No, I think I've seen that. Yeah. I thought I saw it in like a commercial.
I think she has like an album named 13 or something like that.
Or a song, maybe a song. No, I'm going 13. What are you going, Eddie?
8.
8. Okay, that's a fair number. I think 13 is better though. Andy?
Well, of course you do, because you said it.
Thank you. I'm going 14. I'm going to 1.
Wow. He just prices righted you.
The price is right. $1, baby. So.
All right, we've got Dogfather with 8. Gators KB says, I don't think she's going to be there. He's going with 0.
Wait, Kevin? I'm not going to be there?
So I mean, well, come on. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, Eddie, please tell us why she wouldn't be there.
Well, I mean, doesn't she perform in Tokyo on Friday? Yeah. I mean, but come on. I mean, it's a private jet. She's going to sleep all night and she'll be there. That's ridiculous. Of course she's going to. And by the way, the NFL is not going to let her not be there. She is going to be there.
Yeah. Garrett Key says 15. Jermaine's got 9.
Okay.
M.
What is your name, M? So I can write that down.
We need he or her is on X.
Okay.
So it's in the Capital One commercial. I knew I wasn't crazy. That's it. Yeah, she says it in that commercial. It says 13 is my favorite number. Whatever.
Yeah, I do remember that now. You're right. That's right.
Chet Summer says 20.
Those are too high. That's too high.
Dude, they show her every chance they get.
No, they really don't. You say that, but go back and watch. They really don't.
I think Patrick Mahomes' dad, he was asked if he was going to be in the suite with Taylor Swift and Brittany Mahomes. He was like, I hope not.
Well,
he may be incarcerated.
I was going to say, did you not see the news today?
Yeah.
I think right now he's hoping that he's in the suite with them. I think that's one of the things he's hoping for the most. So yeah, he just got arrested. James says 9. Make it a drinking game with your boys. That's a tough one. Oh, is he out on bail? Alex says he's out on bail. Okay,
yeah, cool. He'll be there. He'll be there. When you're that rich, you can do whatever.
There was a great question here though about the Super Bowl. Garrett says, "What is a must-have dish for all 3 of y'all for the Super Bowl?" Andy?
Lemon pepper wings. Gotta have them.
Yeah.
You don't like wings for the Super Bowl?
I do. You just went very specific on lemon pepper there. Like you like them wet or dry?
Wet, yeah. You smoke them on the smoker, and then you flash fry them in the deep fryer, and you toss them in lemon pepper and some butter. Mix it up.
My next question: are you making them or getting them from somewhere?
I'm making them right outside my door, out here on the smoker. So.
Okay, Eddie.
Sliders.
With what in it though? What?
Just
this isn't
hamburger sliders. I mean, that's my favorite to have right there. But I do like wings very much on a Super Bowl.
So, like a slider, are you making it like in a King's Hawaiian roll type?
Yes, that's exactly right. Yep,
okay.
That's exactly.
And you're
right.
making like a thin patty in there.
Yep.
We're going cheese.
Yes.
You're going like pickle.
Yes.
Bacon.
Mayonnaise, ketchup, and mustard. Yeah, and some chopped onions. Really fine. I like that. So,
yeah. For me, it's Andy. I like the wings. But pizza, man. I just
pizza and wings. That's kind of the go-to.
Yeah. But like if he's asking for like a unique dish, which I think Eddie gave, and you did as well, Andy, because you did the lemon pepper, like a buffalo chicken dip, right? You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
The wife will mix that up.
Boiled peanuts. How about boiled peanuts?
Yeah, I've never done that during the Super Bowl.
For the
That
Super Bowl?
to me is an
Why not?
appetizer. That's an appetizer.
But do you not just eat all day for the Super Bowl? That's kind of
that like makes me feel lonely.
well, I am single, so I mean, you know,
like
you did give me a lifetime, a yearly subscription to Tinder for Christmas. So I mean, I need that. So.
How's that going, by the way? How's that subscription going?
As soon as he says it, I'm going to start my swiping. So
that's just like bowl of peanuts. It just sounds so lonely. Like you're sitting in the dark or something and just have a little cup by yourself.
Oh, dude, that's a great day. Don't knock it till you try it. You get a Mountain Dew, light some candles. You know, just have just laying in the bed, maybe whatever. It's okay.
All right, let me back up here. Oh, you
bowl of peanuts in the bed. This show is off the rails, brother.
Yeah,
all right, go ahead.
What kind of pizza? You just said pizza. I need to know specifics.
So okay, so I'm a pepperoni sausage mushroom.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. And Garrett just outed himself too. He likes to be lonely as well. He says he likes some good bowl of peanuts too.
Hey, Garrett, we'll be lonely together this Sunday for the Super Bowl, dude. So,
let's
see. Oh, here's a pro tip from Doug Evans. He says week after, quote, the big game is a great time to stock up on cheap surplus wings from the grocery store. I like that. We got another Taylor Swift here. Not to be hunted, I think was taken. So he went hunted 2023.
I got him written down. I think that's the last one.
So where are we going here for?
Look at Ducati. Ducati's coming in strong, though.
What he said, I grew up on bowl of peanuts at the racetrack on Saturday nights as a kid. Yeah. Not during the Super Bowl by yourself. There's different times to get.
Hey, I'm gonna have my candles lit too, so it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Well, we need to talk about the game specifically, Paul. I mean,
that's where I'm going. Yeah, where are we going with it?
All right,
where are we at? Who's winning this thing? What's going on?
Well, I will say this. I went back and looked, and although transitive property doesn't really matter in football, they had 7 common opponents. They each played Baltimore, Detroit, Jacksonville, Minnesota, Philly, Green Bay, and Cincinnati. They both went 4-3 during those games. They kind of, San Francisco beat Philly, where Kansas City lost to them, but then Kansas City beat Cincinnati, San Francisco lost. So transitive property don't mean a ton. Sold on the side of the road. They are, dude. There's just a stand right down the road for me. That's where I go get them. So, I think, and also look that Kansas City has given up the 3rd fewest passing yards this year, and the 49ers have given up the 19th most passing yards. And then the 49ers have given up the 3rd fewest rushing yards, whereas Kansas City has given up the 15th most. So I think Kansas City will force the 49ers to run the ball, but I just don't think they'll be able to do enough. And I think it'll be close. So I got Kansas City winning again with Patrick Mahomes making a play 30-27.
Man, what you got, Eddie?
I have learned the hard way not to bet against Patrick Mahomes.
Exactly.
He is the man. He's the new Brady, guys. I mean, he's unbelievable. He and Andy Reid just have that Belichick Brady kind of relationship. It just seems to me. And I bet against him last week and was just like, wow, this guy, that last throw he made to win the game, to seal the game. Remember that when the guy was on his back? Who was the receiver? I can't remember who the receiver was.
Valdez-Scantling, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. I mean, what a ballsy play to win the game. And they just got something going on. I mean, I'm biased against 49ers because I grew up NFC West, the Falcons, and the Niners just kicked our ass yearly, and I hated them. I hate Rice. I hate Montana, all that stuff. I hate Shanahan. So I'm kind of rooting against them. I don't like the Chiefs very much, but I just think Patrick Mahomes finds a way to win this football game. And it's going to be high scoring. I agree with you, Andy. Like 30-27, that's a pretty good prediction. I'm going to say 27-20. The Chiefs win. And you know what you said? What was interesting there? You said Kansas City does allow a lot of running yards. Is that what you said?
Yeah, Kansas City. Let's see. They have given up the 3rd fewest passing, but on rushing, they have given up the 15th most. About middle of the pack. I mean, middle of the NFL.
So, I mean, that lends itself well to Christian McCaffrey to go crazy. And that guy. How does Carolina let that guy go? I mean, they are the dumbest franchise on the planet. I mean,
No, I saw
drafting
something.
Bryce Young and letting him go. They're just stupid.
I saw something cool about McCaffrey though, and Shanahan is his dad, Ed McCaffrey, played for Shanahan's dad in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he played for the Broncos. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm going, man, and I think Eddie pretty much hit it on the head. You can't bet against Patrick Mahomes, man. You just can't. Even though everything in this game tells me the 49ers will win.
Mm-hmm.
They have a better defense, in my opinion. Although L'Jarius Sneed gets slept on a lot. He's a really good corner. Chris Jones is damn good as well.
Mm-hmm.
Besides those two guys, there's not a ton working for the Chiefs on the defensive side of the ball, whereas 49ers are stacked. Then you go to the offensive side of the ball. Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey.
But the guy at the quarterback position.
Yeah.
Right. So you both went Chiefs?
I think Purdy's good. I'm not saying he's bad, but I'm just saying that Patrick Mahomes, is he a top 5 all-time quarterback right now?
Not right now, but he will be when he wins the Super Bowl next week.
He's starting to kiss it, right? Yeah, that's the thing. He's getting into that level.
Yeah.
So they've won 2 out of the last 4. Okay, they've been in 3 of the last 4. This will be the 5th in the series here since they won their first one. I'm going Chiefs 34-31. Harrison Butker kicking a last-second field goal to get them their 3rd in 5 years.
That'd be a hell of a game.
Yeah, I wanted to stay close though. KC says, I don't care. I think Shanahan cracks the code this year. I don't know, man.
God, I hope not.
Really?
No.
So, okay, Paul, who are not who do you think? Who are you pulling for? Are you pulling
for?
Do you hope the 49ers win this?
I hope both of the teams don't show up and we get like a performance from Usher that lasts the whole time.
Well,
like if you're asking,
we get a tie.
Yeah, Falcons would somehow get in. I was like, dude, they'd get lost going to the stadium. They wouldn't know where they were at.
Yeah, so if you're asking me like who I'm rooting for, I'm rooting for the commercials.
Yeah,
like,
I'm with you 100%.
That's because both these teams, they're not crazy good. I could go with James Carraway. Probably pulling for
Mr.
Purdy.
Irrelevant. Yeah, I can kind of pull. I'm pulling for Mr. Irrelevant.
But then at the same time, the whole Mr. Irrelevant thing is kind of irrelevant when his team is stacked full of nothing but all-stars.
100%.
So it gets me a little bit. I like this from Ducati, Kittle versus Kelsey. Maybe watch that as a matchup. I like that. Who am I pulling for?
When you throw the ball up for grabs and it hits the defensive guy in the face mask because he's making an interception and you get a completion on the 1-yard line, things are going your way. I mean, come on. That's just what happened.
So Andy asked, who are we rooting for? We all picked the Chiefs to win. Are we rooting for the Chiefs to win? Eddie, you said yes, right?
I mean, like it's a
because you don't like Shanahan.
It's a pubic hair. That's how much I'm rooting for them.
It's like a
I don't know where to go from there.
I'll root for the 49ers, I guess.
Oh, God. You can't do that. I can't do that. I
like Kittle. I like Kittle. I like Deebo. I like Brandon Ayuk. I like McCaffrey. I like Purdy. Yeah, sure. 49ers.
After what Shanahan did to us, you're okay with that? You were okay with Shanahan
because at the end of the day, Shanahan was just the OC. He could have been overruled and he wasn't.
And he was the problem. Run the damn ball.
I don't blame you. The idiot head coach that's now coaching at Washington. That's who I blame. I don't know. I think
this is also a big point in why I need to root for the 49ers. You won't be able to watch TV for a week, James Carraway says, without a Mahomes love fest if they win. He's true. He's right. Andy, who are you rooting for?
I like Eddie's talked about growing up with the NFC West. I hated the 49ers, and I grew up hating on the Cowboys, all that.
Forgot you're so old.
But I know I'm old, man. But I will say I'm sick of hearing about Taylor Swift. I hate that woman, and I can't stand seeing her on TV now. So
it's a wrong word.
Well, I don't like her. Okay. I'm pulling for the 49ers because I like Charlie Warner. So I'm hoping Charlie Warner gets a championship. So that's where I'm at with Greg. I want Charlie. There you go. I'm pulling for Charlie Warner. That's who I'm pulling for.
I passed Charlie's sign. He has a sign in Raven County. Passed on the way to Cherokee. He's got a big old sign that says "Home of Charlie Warner, San
That's awesome.
Francisco 49er." Yeah, I think he's the only thing to ever come out of Raven County. Well, Gunnar Stockton might surprise you.
Gunnar, yeah.
And Garrett, I don't actually hate her. I'm just so sick and tired of hearing about her. I just want to hear about football.
No, he does. He hates her. We got him to back off, but
I know we got tape on that.
Yeah, we got tape on that. Much like we've also have Eddie's banking information. Eddie was texting the group today, and out of the blue, just decided to give us a username and password. And I've tried different banks so far. I'm through most of the national ones. I'm starting to localize into the Ackworth region, the smaller community banks.
So can we explain this to the listeners, because they're probably lost? So
sure,
I was texting my son. We have an app that we use for our garage doors, and he needed it. So I sent him the app. No, that has nothing to do with it, Paul. Anyway,
I have a button to open mine. I don't have a freaking app that you got to log into.
Well, we do. I mean, it was here when we moved in. What do you want me to do, Paul?
Sure.
So anyway, I had just texted Andy and Paul, probably something like, "I love you guys. Y'all are great. Thanks for doing this show."
Yeah, that's what it was.
Like and I texted my son the username and password, and somehow I texted it to these two idiots who have now been going through all the banks in the world trying to abscond from me. So thank you very much using my username and password. So
yeah. Like I said, I'm through most of the national ones, Andy. If tomorrow you want to really, kind of regionalize it towards the community banks. Yeah. Kind of smaller ones. I haven't been able to get into any of them yet, but I'm sure we will. There's probably some offshore accounts too if you want to start looking into those.
I bet he's big into some like all these different banks, maybe some Bitcoin, things like that. Right. So I'll start looking for it. So, but I'm worried.
You know what? I literally hate both of you. I do. I just hate both of you so much.
I've never seen $1 million in my bank account, and so
I might just need somebody's.
I'm worried if I see it, I may have a heart attack. So that's it's worth it.
Oh man. All right, so we're through UGA basketball, UGA baseball. Andy sent out a very good thing here about what else to talk about tonight. We're through the Super Bowl. What else is on that list, Andy?
Well, the Falcons have basically completed their coaching staff, so we had talked about that a little bit.
Talk about that.
Yeah, we could talk about the draft, though, right? Speculation on the draft.
Yeah.
I mean, now that we have the coaches in place, what are they going to do at 8?
I think we're too soon. What we can talk about though is the Senior Bowl.
Senior Bowl, yeah.
Because early on in the week, the guy down in Mobile, Alabama, number 84, was getting some high praise. Ladd McConkey was on his donkey down there in Mobile, looking good. Now I did hear some people kind of hating on Ladd because they're like, well, he's going up against only the corner. The corner doesn't have safety help, and rightfully so. You have the whole width and length of the field, whereas you wouldn't have that normally. Ladd showed out down there, and then also Tyke Smith.
Yeah.
Comeback story that not a lot of people talk about was a freshman All-American sophomore year, got hurt his junior year when he came to Georgia, played, very sparingly the season after. And then this past season really, shot up everybody's draft boards and then won the defensive MVP at the Senior Bowl. Who else was there, Andy? Do you know? Because I do.
From the Georgia Bulldogs?
Yes.
Yeah. Marcus Rosemy-Jackson was there, and he had a really good day. He looked really good. Let's see who else was from Georgia's draft. Dejon Edwards, yeah. Bullard, yeah.
You had the long snapper, William Mote. Shout out to him. Nobody talks about those guys, but he's going to go make them some money.
Yep.
And then you also had, I feel like I'm forgetting somebody. I feel terrible about that. They had one more guy, and I can't think of who it was.
That's fine. But let me ask you this, though. Nazir Stackhouse, maybe.
No.
Yeah, that was Marcus Rosemy-Jackson. No, but let me ask you this. What did you think about the MVP of the offense, Spencer Rattler? Because, some people have been speculating the Falcons could go after him in the second, third round.
I'm going to vomit. He is the equivalent to Desmond. You get him in the third round, he is the same thing as Desmond Ridder. Does he change the game any from Desmond Ridder? Eddie?
I don't think so. I think it's silly. I don't think they're targeting him. I think that's silly. I don't think that's the case.
How did we forget Cedric Van Pran? There we go.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, Cedric Van Pran. Yeah.
But he didn't show up. He wasn't there. But he got invited. I knew there was somebody we were missing. Shout out to those guys, though. And then also, the Pro Bowl was today. And every time I turn that thing on, which I want to ask you guys a question on that, because Andy and I were talking pregame before you got in here, Eddie, about that. I saw Georgia Bulldog, man. Roquan Smith, James Cook, DeAndre Swift. I mean, they were everywhere out there. So shout out to those guys. Andy said, though, he said, I really wish they'd go back to the old Pro Bowl style. I love this new style. Absolutely love it.
I wish they would go back to the old Pro Bowl style where it actually mattered, where they tried. And the same as like,
okay, so like they had to do in baseball. They had to say, look, you get for a while there, you get home field advantage.
Yeah, which was stupid.
Yeah, I don't like that. But at least they try though now.
Basketball, they give them a shit ton of money now if they win. What was football getting out of it?
I mean, it was a game. It was to say, hey, I made the Pro Bowl. I'm one of the best players in the league, and I want to go out here and show my talent. It used to be that, you would try to go win, and now they just don't really do a lot now. I mean, like I said, it was a flag football game today. So I don't know. I just don't like seeing NFL guys playing flag football. But
they look like they were having a ton of fun. That stadium was packed out. They had the tug of war. They had the gridiron games. They had all these other games, which for me, I think is pretty cool. I think it was pretty cool. Eddie, you're an old man. You like yelling at stuff. Is this something that you would yell about?
I watched The Fugitive today. I did not watch 1 second of that crap.
It's a great movie, by the way.
Yeah, it is. And that's not football, Paul. I mean, give me the Pro Bowl. I'm sorry. It's not football.
You want like two-hand touch in the Pro Bowl where guys don't want to get hurt? They actually were having fun out there today.
Well, it's never going to happen again. But I mean, they used to actually play a football game. I mean, they do it in the NBA. They play a game. They do it in the MLB.
In the NBA, they might as well be playing a flag football version of basketball. They don't play zero defense. It's just alley-oops and threes.
They don't play defense in the NBA, period, Paul. What's the difference?
Oh, my God. Here, Alex Page says over 55,000 showed up for it.
It was packed out. It was, but it's not football.
I enjoyed it.
It's like, you remember when you had Powder Puff in high school where, the cheerleaders played and it was flag football. It's the same thing. I mean, it's just with like a lot better athletes. So I don't know. It's just not football to me.
I'll tell you one thing. I like that I got Eddie going because we've got about 10 minutes left in the show.
Got anything else to get him going?
I've got him kind of rolling now. And Eddie, the floor is yours, my friend. The Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah.
You love them.
Well,
you've been talking all week. All week.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I don't love them, Paul.
Eddie, you literally have a shirt on right now that you spent your money on.
Yeah, I'm proud of it right here.
Yeah, that's probably a $50 shirt. You don't love them?
No, I don't love the Hawks at this point. I like what they've done the past 4 games, Paul, but it's a long season. You got to show me what's going on. But they've had some good wins and they played better. And my rant is Trae Young is having a fantastic season. He's having one of the best offensive productions of his career. He's having the best assists of his career.
Okay.
And he's completely snubbed from the All-Star game, okay? It has become much like Andrew Jones is not in the Hall of Fame, much like Dale Murphy, not in the Hall of Fame. It's because he played with the Atlanta Braves. There's something with Atlanta teams, and it drives me insane. Trae Young, if he was a Laker, he would be the starter at the guard. He would be a starter. If he was a Knick, he'd be the starter. But because he plays for the Atlanta Hawks, he's not even on the All-Star team. Now, he's probably going to be a reserve. Big freaking deal. I'm sorry. It just drives me crazy the way they snub Atlanta players altogether. It's ridiculous.
You think it has anything to do with the fact that besides those last 4 games, they were 18-27?
What difference does that make? It's not Trae's fault he's on a crappy team. He's having a career year right now. He's playing great. And he has all year long. Dale Murphy played on shitty teams all those years. Was he not a great player? Is he not a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer. Should be a Hall of Fame.
He's a Hall of Famer, Paul. I'm sorry. You should not be punished for the team that you play on. Okay.
So, well, Eddie, if they're struggling right now to get to like their current record is 22-27, what are they missing? I asked you that about the Georgia basketball team. What are the Hawks missing that they need to start getting more wins and be consistent?
Well, I don't think they've been healthy. The past 4 games, they've been healthy. I mean, they've had guys that have been injured. DeAndre Hunter's been on the bench, all that kind of stuff. So now they're finally healthy, and you can see that the past 4 games. And they've beaten some good teams. I mean, it's not like schlubs they're beating, okay? So I don't think they're going to do much of the trade deadline, if that's your question. I really don't.
So they've got to finish in the top 8 to make the playoffs, and currently they're 4 games out. They're 10th right now, 4 games out.
Right.
So they would have to.
The 10th is a play-in spot, though. Right.
Yeah, and the thing is, they're only 5 games out of 6th, so it's not like it's a huge gap. So they're right there at it. So.
Oh, Alex Page says, so are you mad at the Hawks fans for not voting Trey as a starter, or that the majority of the vote are mad at the players and media for not naming him as a reserve?
It's the coaches. I mean, the fans basically voted for Trey, but it's the coaches. And I don't know how the voting works, but there's part of it for the fans and part of it for the coaches. And the coaches just ignored him, completely ignored him. The fans voted for him. So that's what I don't understand.
I don't think he has the greatest reputation in the league.
Yeah. I wonder. Yeah.
I don't know. But guys, I think we're all out of topics. We'll end a little early.
Yeah.
Because you got your rant in about the Hawks. Let you have it, you know?
Well, we won't be back. We won't be back until like the Braves are already report spring training. That they already have been reported by the time we're on again, because we'll be off next week for the Super Bowl. So let me ask you about that. You have your top 4 starters in the rotation set. You'll have Max Fried, Spencer Strider, you'll have Charlie Morton, and you'll have Chris Sale. Perfect world. What do you want to happen at that 5th starter spot?
I know what Paul's answer is.
And his answer is my answer as well. But so who do you want to be the fifth starter opening day, Paul?
Bryce Elder. What?
I agree. Easy. Because that allows Waldrop to go to AAA. That allows AJ Smith-Shawver to go to AAA. And I hope that happens as well. But I think there's going to be a competition. And I think AJ Smith-Shawver, I think he's going to win it personally.
I agree.
The only reason I don't think he would win it is if they say, okay, you know what, we only use the 5th starter in the first month of the season, maybe once, because you have all the breaks. I think that may be the only reason he doesn't win it, because I think he's going to make an impact this year. I think he's going to come up and he's going to make an impact. And
I mean, James has got a point.
Elder literally would be the best.
He was an all-star last year.
Period. He would be the best.
So, but the problem with he only throws 90 miles an hour. So, but he was an all-star. So, but I do.
So did Greg Maddux, but
that's different. We're not going to go back to the Elder Greg Maddux comparison again.
Just say, guys, we won't be here next Sunday. Obviously, the Super Bowl is much more important. You want to watch Taylor Swift. Glad you guys got your votes in for how many times we'll see her. You'll see us back the Sunday after the Super Bowl, and we will discuss the Braves. Georgia basketball will be close to wrapping up by then, and we'll see what happens. And there's probably something going on in Eddie's world that we'll get to talk about and rant about. Guys, before you leave out, leave a like on this. Share it with some of your friends. Let them know where you find the coolest, funniest guys on YouTube. I know it's not here, but let them know what channel that is.
Where we can go watch it. So I want to know.